Well, pro bono is actually the volunteerism of professional skills.
Right.
So it can be web design or medical services, but it's traditionally been associated with legal services. So attorneys who give free legal assistance to people who can't afford to hire an attorney.
And you've been doing a great job as head of that program at Albany Law School. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. A couple of years ago, there was a new rule to require students who are being admitted to practice in 2014 to show that they've completed at least 50 hours of pro bono work. And our institution wanted to help facilitate that requirement, so we developed a pro bono program as part of what the school offers to students. And I am the first postgraduate pro bono fellow to lead that implementation and to develop that program.
Now, you've been doing a lot in the Capital Region community and been very visible, helping people and getting the pro bono program out there. I want to talk about how not only people in the Capital Region, but people throughout New York State benefit from the pro bono program, which takes place at different law schools in New York State.
Sure. So I think there are several ways that communities benefit from student pro bono work. For one thing, students can assist attorneys in the pro bono work that attorneys are doing. Students are also completing their requirement in LSC programs like legal aid offices, the legal project offices that provide free or low-cost legal services to the community. And students are completing that requirement in any of the government agencies that also need assistance serving the people of New York State. So I think pro bono work is one way to bridge the justice gap. It helps us address the vast lack of legal services in New York State.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean by the vast lack of legal services in New York State?
Sure. So legal services are, of course, underfunded like so many other services to people who need help. I think the numbers, like 80% of New Yorkers don't have the legal help they need for their issues, such as landlord-tenant conflicts, divorces, custody, even things like bankruptcies can get very expensive, and legal service providers can't help everybody who is income eligible. And then there's this sort of crust of people that are over income for free legal services, but still are not well off enough to hire an attorney for each of their legal needs.
Is it an economic reason or a lack of realizing that you have something going on in your life and you need an attorney, or is it a little bit of both?
I think it's really both. A lot of people leave some of their legal issues to they kind of push them off as something that they can deal with later. Wills, for example. Everybody should have a will, no matter how old you are or what you own, but many people wait until later in life to even think about their will, and by the time they're thinking about it, they may not be in a position to hire an attorney for that legal need. So there is some of that. I think the majority of it, though, is that people really don't feel that they can afford legal services.
What sort of people do you find that the pro bono program in New York State helps, both out of Albany Law School and the other different law schools in New York State? Who are the people that get the most help?
It is very wide, and there's a huge variety.
You do a lot with the vets, right?
We do a lot with veterans.
How do you help the veterans?
We have 2 Law Day events each year that provide free advice to veterans, and many of the attorneys that give that free advice then take on those cases on a pro bono basis. We also do veteran bankruptcies throughout the year, and we're essentially a resource for veterans. If they call my office and have a legal need, I can help direct them to what service provider would be able to assist them the best. But in recent years, there has been a growth in pro bono legal programs for veterans specifically, because they they really need the assistance. We have a huge homelessness issue with veterans. We have veterans who are coming home from deployment and they're facing foreclosures. We have veterans who have legal needs with their matrimony or family matters that don't know where to turn, and there can be a lot of complication with family because of people moving between the states. So there's this huge need with veterans, so there's a big push to help veterans. But we serve dozens of other communities. We have large programs that serve senior citizens. We have programs that serve people with special needs and disabilities.
How do you help senior citizens?
We host Senior Citizens Law Day.
Right.
This is actually the 20th anniversary, and there are several institutions that have a Senior Citizens Law Day. That program provides presentations and workshops on about 30 different legal and caregiving issues. It has another pro bono legal clinic like the one that we have for veterans, and it also has a resource fair that brings together service providers from the region to one spot so that seniors can go table to table and talk to representatives about whatever that organization provides.
What are some of the issues impacting senior citizens in this day, that an age that you're able to help them with?
You know, identity theft is a big deal right now. I think we're finding that many seniors are not protecting some of their what should be confidential information as well as they need to prevent identity theft, and these identity thieves are quite good at accessing information, private information on home computers or cell phones.
What are some of the ways that senior citizens could protect themselves from identity theft that they're not doing right now that you're running into?
I know that people receive, you know, spam emails, and it'll be from a name that they're familiar with. It'll be from a friend of theirs, and so they'll open it and it'll say, "Here's this video. It's a really great video," and they'll click on that video, and you know they can invite viruses or spamware onto their computers and might be vulnerable that way. Even sales of antivirus like discs or hardware, software rather, can sometimes be just a scam. So Senior Law Day does provide some information about things such as identity theft and how to pick a good contractor, but the bulk of Senior Law Day focuses on legal issues: wills, advance directives, power of attorneys, how to get your estate in order, how to make sure your wishes are carried out the way that you'd like them to be.
After a pro bono attorney deals with, say, the senior citizens, do they follow up with the individual to make sure that they're okay, or is it a one-time only encounter?
With Senior Law Day, it's a one-time only. It's a brief advice clinic. Unlike the Veterans Project, many of those attorneys do take those cases for full representation. But what seniors do get is they can call that office later on. They can contact any of the other law firms that participate in this in the program, and they form a sort of introductory relationship that might make that senior more comfortable calling an attorney.
Now, you also said you deal with people in matrimonial problems. Want to talk about those issues a little bit? Sure.
Well, actually, so this is one way that we partner with community organizations. The Legal Project hosts clinics a couple of times a semester, and the students go to that clinic and they assist the pro se litigants with filling out their uncontested divorce packets, and then the student then kind of passes that packet off to one of the volunteer attorneys who goes through the packet, makes sure it's accurate and correct and meets all of the requirements, and then that person is given instructions for how to file their divorce. So this clinic allows just 2 attorneys to help, upwards of 30 individuals with their uncontested divorces in one afternoon. And that's largely because they have all these student volunteers that are assisting with the individual clients.
Now, throughout New York State, there are a lot of law schools that offer these services for their students. Yep. Could you let our viewers know what some of those places are, or some of those institutions?
Sure. Well, there are about 15 law schools in the state of New York, but there are only, I think, 4 in upstate. We have Albany Law School here in the Albany area. We also have Cornell Law School, Syracuse University College of Law, and the University at Buffalo Law School. And I do think that people should turn to their law schools and their communities for help, even if that law school doesn't have a law day program coming up, or they don't have a clinic program that can offer advice at that moment. They will probably be able to direct you towards the Bar Association or a legal service provider in the area, or another resource where you can get assistance.
What type of individual is eligible for pro bono legal assistance?
You know, it really depends on the programs that are available in your area. If you are income eligible, so if you're low income enough, you would be eligible for legal services at a legal aid office, for example. Law school programs generally aren't required to verify income to prove that a person is, you know, particularly low income. So our programs, for example, don't do any income verification. Anybody can walk in the door. So anyone can attend a senior law day, anyone can attend a veterans law day or a special needs law day, and we don't do any income verification.
Supposing someone is arrested by the police for speeding or for something and they can't afford an attorney, would they be able to turn to the different legal institutions you have indicated in New York State and say, hey, I need help, would you help me out?
No.
Why?
Criminal defense work is covered by public defenders.
Okay.
So if you can't afford an attorney, the state of New York provides an attorney to you in the form of public defenders.
What is the difference between a pro bono attorney, which you don't have to pay for, and a court-appointed attorney, which you don't have to pay for, other than who puts that attorney representing you?
Well, the court-ordered attorney programs are generally requirements that the state has to provide individuals with legal services. Pro bono attorneys are volunteers that just see a need in the community, want to help meet that need, and have the resources to do that.
Now, pro bono attorneys that help in those programs are also attorneys that, you know, we were talking about in the beginning, that feel that the community has been good to them and they like to give back and assist people or not-for-profit organizations, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I believe that that's accurate. You know, I think the whole kind of point of pro bono as a concept is that this specialization is one, it's expensive to access, and it's a very important resource for most of the world, really. And I think the chance for people to give back this really important skill to the community means a lot to people like myself.